All right, everybody, if you're just tuning in, do me a favor, drop it in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. We have got a fire episode for you tonight. It's Ross Robinson, known as Rosco. We're coming up here in under 30 seconds. We're going to go live and tell you all about it. But in the meantime, right now, your job, come in here, let us know where you're watching from, and just know that as you do that, if you engage with this, you subscribe, you share this out, I'm going to be tracking all that, and we're going to be giving away some awesome prizes. So we're going to be doing that in just a minute. I'll tell you more about that. But come on in and please share the link out to your friends, whether it be on social media, just share it out wherever you need to. Send people some links. Let them know that we've got an incredible interview ready for you right now. So we're going to go ahead and drop down our show cover here. And so here's what's up for grabs tonight. We have the Fly Racing Goggle Garage is up for grabs. So if you can share this out on social media, go in the comments, let us know where you're watching from. And I see Mr. Ross Robinson's even in here he's multitasking. He's in the comments. He's sharing it out. We're going to make this happen. So just for participating in this video and letting us know what's going on, you guys are in to win. So appreciate you that. And Ross, we're going to bring the screen down and unveil you here in 3, 2, and 1. How the heck are you, Mr. Ross Robinson? You're on mute still, I think, buddy.
I'm muted. Now I'm in the house. Okay, I couldn't be better. I mean, I'm busy, but I'm excited to be here. So, yeah, thanks for having me. And I'm excited to give the people some intel, some info, and some entertainment. So, yeah.
Man, we've got lots to talk about tonight. And what I want to make sure everybody understands is this channel here on YouTube is fairly new. We used to do a show called John Frame Live over on Facebook Live, but now here on YouTube, what we're all about is living large. What I tell everybody live large is, Ross, is it's live life to the fullest, buddy. Make the most of every day and make a difference to others. And man, I try to look and seek out interviews like yourself of guys who are just out there living their best life, killing it, shredding it, whether it be on the snow or the dirt, doing what they can. And frankly, they're out there doing it in a public way where they're making a difference to the community. I mean, you're showcasing products to people, you're teaching people things when you're out in the snow together, you're connecting people with information, you're making a difference in our community. And so I am so honored to have you here tonight, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, it's cool. What you're doing is you're very dedicated to the craft of this. I've actually done lives before, and they're tough. There's a lot that goes on. One-man band, so I commend you for your consistency and the amount of work that you put in on it. And I hope that I can bring some entertainment, maybe bring you some new viewers, and yeah, bring some sort of, bring something to the table for everybody. And that's kind of like my MO is I have to be bringing some sort of value to people or they aren't going to care. So
you're speaking my language, man. Adding value is what I'm all about, and wherever it is, doesn't matter if it's in my day job over at Microsoft when I'm slinging Xboxes, if I'm over here with Avalanche Alliance putting on a giant sweepstakes, bringing the interviews to everybody here on Live Large Universe. It's like all about adding value in everybody's life and making a difference. So it's very cool, very cool. So Ross, I think the first time I got to meet you in person, I'm going to go back in time here. I want to say it was 3, maybe 4 years ago at Heydays. You were standing in the BBA booth, and I came up and introduced myself as a fanboy. I apologize for that. It's been a few years now. Hopefully you forgive me for coming in and, just going like, oh, Ross, I follow you. I love you. Thanks for, being here. And even your you've been podcasting, you've been, lead guide and content creator for BBA. And we're going to get into some of that and the transition over to being an independent tonight. But I just want to say it was so cool to be able to meet you in person. And by the way, are you coming back to Heydays this year? Are you going to make it?
Yes, I will be on a plane a week from today. I'll be there. It's going to be got some stuff to be done. And I hope we have a good showing and, it can go on kind of how we used to experience it, because it's been so long for us, right?
Yeah.
It feels like forever since we've been back to Heydays, which is good. I think we're going to be excited to see each other, see a lot of friends, see a lot of industry friends as well. And then obviously anybody who just wants to see new product, new sleds, and maybe say hi to me. I always appreciate it. So
it's one of my favorite parts is just getting out there and interacting with everybody and saying hi to everybody, whether it be guys like you and I just connecting because we've known each other over time with through social media and just by following each other, literally just friends. Like there's, I'm sure just like you've got people all over the country. Canada probably not this year because of the COVID restrictions at the border still, but normally we'd have Canadians coming down too to Haydays, and it's their chance to come over and shake your hand, say hi, slap you on the back a little bit, and get to know you a little bit one on one. So.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's our pinnacle like event that we have in the snowmobile industry. So
Yeah.
you got to lean into it and enjoy it, and it's really fun.
Yeah. So, Ross, are you ready to dive in and give everybody a little bit of a reflection of your time at BBA? I know we're not going to go super deep into your BBA time, but I think it's worth noting the work that you did there, what you did, and kind of how you got your foot in the industry, in that role, and what that meant for you to take that giant leap of faith to go out on your own. But let's give us a little background on BBA first and kind of what your role was there and kind of how that was going for you.
Yeah, so I mean that was where it all really started identity wise for me as a professional snowmobiler, and like then turned into a content creator, which I am. I almost identify more as a content creator now. I mean, it's like 50-50, I would say, but
Yeah.
I started there 18 years old, got the opportunity, put myself in a position to win. And I really did it without even knowing that I did it. It's like it's all about kind of being tasteful, because nobody likes the kid that won't leave you alone. But when you need help and there's somebody there to help, it's like it's really riding that balance and how to be there. Because the truth is nobody's going to call you when nobody knows who you are. Nobody's going to call you. So you somehow have to figure out how to get in front of the right people, make the right impressions. But you don't want to be, like I said, in their face, so annoying. Like that's the worst. So I like managed to slip in and get my foot in the door, and I was working for free for a while. And then I was going to college in Colorado, and I went for like half a semester, and then I was working for Chris after that, and then that was the end of it.
So hey, I'm going to pause you for a second because
Yeah.
you and I have something in common. You and I are both college dropouts. I don't think most people know that about myself.
Yeah, I'm like below a college dropout because I didn't even really give it a shot. I was like,
Well, I was actually, believe it or not, most people don't know this about me. So fun fact about John Ferrian is I was going to be a professional photographer. That was my career path. I was going to be out there creating quote unquote content and, being whether it be weddings or racing. I loved action sports racing photography. And I actually went to a year or two of, I think a year maybe of college and found a job that was better than the one I was kind of getting trained for. And I'm like, why the heck am I paying for college? I don't know. It's one of those decisions when you make it at 18, 19 years old, you think back and you're like, I probably should have finished, but things kind of have worked out similar to you.
yeah, 100%. And I wasn't, and I was actually going to school for like, I was going to be a paramedic, EMT. I wasn't going to, I struggle with school. So yeah, I just put myself in that situation of just being able to be available, and I got the opportunity, and it paid off. And I started as a tail gunner. I was a tail guide for Chris for 2 years. Then I stepped into a lead guide role, did that for 2 years, and then I kind of took a season off. And then I came back as a lead guide again for 2 more years, and then that's when we started to create content. And it was really like proof of concept. That's what I feel so much in my career has been, is just proof of concept to everybody.
Yeah.
I just started making the vlog, and pretty soon Chris is like, dude, we cannot stop making the vlog, because it was working.
That's
And
awesome. Yeah.
it was really cool. And pretty quick, Chris is like, well, you just need to start making videos for me too. And then, one thing led to another, and I was teaching myself how to, use the camera and do all this stuff. And it was really trial by fire, but I luckily had a cool crew around me, and we're all in it together. We're all working 16-hour days, just melting our face off, guiding and wrenching and creating videos. But it was really fun. And like, I look back at those 2 seasons with Kyle Pulsifer, Chris, Ryan McConnell, and it's like were 2 of the funnest seasons of my life. Also 2 of the hardest, most stressful, like
100%.
Damn near kill you.
Well, that's the thing. I think we really should highlight the fact that, these people who think like, yeah, I'm going to go work for Chris Burandt or Dan Adams or, anybody in the industry that's kind of got these programs that they have out there. And they're like, I'm going to go work in the industry and be a guide. And I think that's the part that helped them understand. And you've already said it is, dude, it's not a job. It's a life.
Yeah.
Like you just basically just moved over and you're not working an 8 to 5, 9 to 5, even a 10 to 10, right? It's not even a 12-hour job, right? It's literally it's your life from the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment you put your head on the pillow at night. You are existing for nothing else other than this, right? This new lifestyle, which is for you, it was a guide, it was a content creator, it was a mechanic probably at the same time, right? You were wrenching on sleds too.
Oh yeah. Yep. I mean, we're building so many sleds, and like
Yeah.
before, I was actually supposed to be the shop manager and the like head of builds for BBA
Yeah.
right before I started creating content. And then
Yeah.
we just changed that role for me.
What I have to know though is what was the moment that your parents quit nagging you to get a real job? That's what I want to know.
Um,
Or is that still happening?
no, it's not. It's like they've actually been so incredibly supportive in the fact of just like they've seen me when I do go work a regular job. Like when I was first working for Chris, I was working summers for dad, and it was like I couldn't do it. And they're like, I was just like, I get depressed in like 2 weeks if I have to go work a regular job. And so they have always been very supportive, and they know like that I'm gonna figure it out, which
Yeah.
is just, I couldn't ask for more in that sense. But I mean, it really was like once I started guiding, and then towards the end there, I was doing pretty well at BBA, and then but 6 years was great, and then all of a sudden I'm out, and now it's all on my own again, and like that whole like how am I going to make a living
Yeah.
starts again.
Oh yeah. Well, what was the moment that you decided now is the right time to make the transition out of BBA? Like, can you remember the specific day, time, moment that it just hit you, or was it an evolution of things?
It was certainly an evolution of things,
Got it.
and I think and I was in an especially tricky situation because I want to be Ross Robinson, and we call it we would refer to it as the BBA umbrella with Chris Burandt. And when you work with Chris, you get to do all these awesome things, you get all these awesome perks of the job. But I was like to a point where I wanted my own deals, I wanted my own stuff, and sometimes I was really struggling to get that support from like other partner companies.
Got it.
So I kind of became handcuffed, and like I had to go the way of Chris. And when a guy of his level in the industry goes somewhere, he takes a lot of resources with him because he is
Yeah.
Chris Burandt. So it became just something that I was like, and it was a number of things. It was just I was kind of tired of guiding, honestly. I wanted to create more content. I wanted to be able to go all over the place. I missed being home, and so I just sent it.
That's
And
cool.
we decided that it was time to go do it on my own. And
Yeah.
that Chris was like, as soon as we had the discussion, like I was ready to go do that. He's like, yeah, you need to go do that for what you were trying to do. This is your move.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. And so, you've quote unquote cut the umbilical cord, you've moved off over into your own program, and you're kind of starting from scratch. I think you had one partner. Was it 509 was an existing partnership that you had or not at that point? Or just talk to me about like, how did you approach starting from, I mean, you had this background, this history, but you were riding Polaris and you were riding in climb gear and you had, 509, like there's all these things you had to do when you were within the BBA umbrella.
Yeah.
But now, how do you go out and just start? And how did you pick and choose who you started approaching and quote unquote attacking out there in the industry to make things happen?
Yeah. I guess I was actually still on a climb contract when I left BBA. I had my own contract,
Got it.
and but I actually asked to get out of it because 509 wanted to work with me, and Climb was gracious enough to say, yeah, you're okay to go do that, and join the 509 team again. And really what it has come down to me is like whoever wants to work with Ross, that's where I get excited.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've done a lot of proof of concepts in my career, and now it's time to like, hey, I know I can do this. Like, do you want to be a part of it or not? Because if not, I don't want to pester you all the time
Amen.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm done with that part of my career, and now I'm ready to like really do cool stuff. But I don't want to like for anybody who's like young listening, that is kind of what you have to do, right? You have to prove yourself in one way or another and make yourself stand out. But also stay true to yourself too, of like, because when you stay true to yourself and you be who you truly are, the companies that align with you will want to work with you if you're doing good work.
Dude, that's
So
gold.
like,
Yeah, I'm aligned 100%. And, you know, I've witnessed it both in my professional career, in our writing careers, you know, with the different sponsorships as well, too. And yeah, it's be authentic is basically what you're saying. Be you, figure out what your values are, align your values with companies the values that they have, and things will happen. But again, you have to kind of prove it out and showcase. And, you know, the idea of like, quote unquote, going and asking for something if you've never run their products or anything like that, that's a challenge, right? And so, like for someone new getting into this, the challenge is how do you get your foot in the door? And you obviously had a big a big boot right in the door through BBA that gave you a lead over, say, the average Joe just walking in. So
yeah, and you know, at my time at BBA, I never burned any bridges
amen.
with any companies. You know, worked hard for everybody, and you know, felt like maybe I could have done better work sometimes for certain people, but yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
because you never know who somebody is or who somebody's going to be.
yeah.
That's the scary part, right? Is like in 5 years, that one person that you met for one time could be the decision maker that is the reason you're getting a huge deal or like
100%.
a job or something like that. And
Yeah.
especially in our world. So it's like, yeah, you gotta be careful, and you
Well,
know,
reputation is everything. You
yeah.
know, never burning bridges is golden advice. So,
Yeah. So yeah, I did a pretty good job with that, and that allowed me to kind of step into what I'm doing now.
yep. And that sweet mustache probably doesn't hurt either, does it?
Yeah, the mustache it's taken me 26 years to get one, so now I'm like messing around with it. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Be proud. Be loud. Just own it. Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's sweet. So let's talk about two things, and I'm going to introduce both, and then we're going to come back to one, right? So we're going to talk about, you know, you did move forward with several new companies and brands, right? But then I also want to talk about content creation and really what is, you know, for you and I, content creation, like we know what that means, right? But the average person listening, they kind of understand it, but how do you quote unquote make a living doing content creation? And what are you really talking about? Kind of break it down in kind of black and white for us, content creation. And I'm sure that'll unravel us into then who are the brands that you're working with currently. And then we'll touch on some of what you're doing with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like content creation, essentially how I look at it is you have to provide something in the media that you're creating out there, whether that be entertainment, education, and kind of anything that stems off to those. Like entertainment can be Caleb Kosturki doing massive 270s off the lip. Like that's straight up entertainment.
Hardcore.
Yep. Education is it can be Dan Adams on his YouTube channel teaching you how to side hill, right?
Yep.
So like both of those give value to, because Caleb makes us happy and excited because we see that and we're like, whoa, and it's like that awe factor. Dan is bringing incredible value and helping us be a better rider.
Yep.
So like with that, you have to create something that people will, you know, enjoy and kind of bring something to the table. So that's I love the entertainment side of things from actually a creative side of like, it's way more fun for me to be creative when I'm doing entertainment stuff or cool trips, awesome edits, fun vlogs, those kind of things. I will step into the education stuff where I feel like I need to educate people on this. And that's great. I'm good at it, but it's not my favorite. I don't want to do belt deflection tutorials and shock tuning on my YouTube channel. So,
well, and let's be honest, you ride a Lynx now, so you don't even have to do that stuff anymore. The thing just pretty much you put gas in it and oil and you go.
Yeah, you just ride the heck out of it, and we're gonna have some fun stuff going on in that thing for sure this year. But no, it's definitely. With that being said, it's like, and also just providing good content too.
Yeah.
Like of a quality and being able to provide quality and quantity at the same time is kind of where that's my value proposition to everybody.
Very good. Very good. And then you've dabbled in the past, and I'm curious, kind of, let's talk a little bit about your podcasting, right? So you've done podcasting a little bit on your own, a little bit under the BBA umbrella. do you have, so let's talk a little bit about what you've done. And then once you wrap that up, let's talk about, is there still podcasting in your future going forward outside of a guest appearance on the most incredible podcast in the world, Live Large Universe? I mean,
The
outside of that,
absolute
outside of that.
heaters. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The podcast has been haunting me for years, and it's so funny. I used to get frustrated with myself because I'm like, oh, I wanted to create it so bad, but it would never. Now I'm just like laughing at what has been happening.
Yeah.
Because so I'll back up. I started a podcast with Chris at BBA,
Yep.
and it took off. It was awesome, and we started that, and I think I did under 20 episodes with him before I left, and then he kind of has continued it. I'm not sure what he's going to do this year. Him and I have been talking a little bit about like maybe doing some shows together, like just chalking it up because we're kind of a good team, we feel.
Yeah.
And then I always wanted to start my own too. And what's funny is I've recorded a couple episodes that never got published before. And then I actually had 2 episodes recorded a couple weeks ago. I actually just posted them on my YouTube channel.
Nice.
And then I got this new opportunity that I'll be talking about it next week. I can't talk about it yet. Right before Heydays it'll launch, which is cool.
All right. So you just teased us, and then you just slapped us in the face. Like I'm like, oh,
something in the works.
Oh, dude,
I got something in the
you're
works.
You're killing me. You're killing
me. I know. I got something really cool in the works, and I honestly wouldn't have recorded those 2 podcasts if I knew that it was going to pop up.
Got it.
Because I was like, if I didn't get this opportunity, I'd be podcasting, going very hard into the season with a podcast. But now I got some other stuff that I'm really fired up about, and you guys will hear more about that come later next week.
I can't wait to hear all about it. I'll be following along closely.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun and cool. So, but that's why I think it's so funny is like every time I start it, life happens, and then it's like, oh, I can't.
Well, here's the thing is like I've been doing this for, let's say, 3.5 years, right? Facebook Live, and now just recently on YouTube here. And I've worked with a lot of people, mentored a lot of people to get into it themselves, some kind of interview podcast format. And most of the folks who I've helped get into it are already back out of it again, right? And folks like yourself that I run into, there's, the Sled Addicts podcast, there's, Scott Sparrow down there who was doing his for a while. And the one thing that everybody says back to me when they hear that I've been doing this for 3.5 years is like, dude, nobody has any idea how much time and effort and work this is to do these things. And it's like the amount of time and effort every week and just the prep time, right? I mean, I have a show outline. I've got, everything ready. Been sharing and marketing it. And it's like, it's a big commitment, but the one thing that motivates me personally is I just love it so much. And the ability to sit here, frankly, with a guy like yourself makes it all worthwhile for me, man. It's like, it's so cool to be part of this industry in such a cool way. So
yeah, like they say, I agree with that. For you to do it that long is incredible. I mean, you sent me a show outline. I'm like, dang, he's got this thing dialed in. He knows what you want to talk about. So that's really cool. I appreciate your work ethic on that front. And I would love to have a podcast in the future, but it will probably come if I can get to a point where I have some sort of team around me.
Okay.
I need a little bit more help to really be able to pull it off.
Gotcha.
So, and that's what's funny about me is I love creating content, but I like to be in front of the camera too. So it's like, that's where vlogging came in. And I really I would love to have somebody, I need to make a little bit more money to be able to hire somebody and then find the right person that's like willing to take the leap with me. I need like a young kid that is just
itching to get in.
Mini Rosco.
Mini Rosco.
Yeah.
I know a few of them up here in Washington that probably would be all in, but I don't think they're going to be able to commute to Oregon every weekend. So
yeah, see, that's the tricky part is it's like finding the right person is tough.
Yeah. But here's the thing is something you just said is so much a pain point of mine too, is like, think about this. I went to school, got trained professionally to be a photographer. I do photography. I take pictures of everybody else and they turn out fabulous. You hand your camera over to anybody else when you're out there trying to ride and get good content. And it's just like almost 100% of the time you just get like a blurry picture, a too far away picture. And it's like, to be a content creator and to know what you're doing behind the camera or behind the microphone or whatever it is, and yet you want to be in front of the camera and behind the camera at the same time, like that is a pain I can feel firsthand, man, my friend.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's like,
because in your head, you know exactly what you want the picture to look like. and there's nobody on the planet that can take it as good as the way you thought of it was in your head, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool, cool. Well, let's dive into, you've been talking about content creation, and now let's dive a little deeper into your partnerships. And I think the big one is Lynx. Like, what do you want to tell us about Lynx, and what was the motivation to partner with Lynx? Let's talk about that, and then let's get into a little bit of the sleds for the season. So,
Yeah. We're pretty much the coolest kids on the block right now. No,
no doubt.
it's actually a great, cool opportunity that I got. I got just cold called by BRP.
Very cool.
And so I mean, everybody knows, or most people know, that Lynx is a sister company to Skidoo, owned by BRP,
Yep.
but they are different. There's actually some substantial differences in the way that they ride. Yeah, it's been really cool. So I was really excited when they told me what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to ride the Lynx. They wanted me to help bring it to the US and really like find its home. And they described who they were looking for, and
Yeah.
I loved how they described me. That I was like, that's great. That it reassured me on like who I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
Because they wanted this guy who's not. I'm not so clean cut and professional, but I'm also not like I'm not a loose cannon, but I'm, I ebb and flow, and I like to have fun. And it's a little bit different feel than like the kind of the straight and narrow kind of feel that you sometimes get in our industry, if I'm being completely honest. So, just trying to like add some personality to this brand and bring it over here. And it's like, it's cool because we have Andreas and his crew of just absolute shredders in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see those guys and know where the brand's going, and then talking to the European team. I work a lot with the guys over there and on kind of what we're trying to do with the sled and stuff. So yeah, it's really cool from a branding side of things. And then the sled's fun too. It fits my riding style. The suspension and the linkage and the way it all works in the back is incredible.
Very cool.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to have some Fox shocks on mine this year, so it'll be really fun to see how big I can go on it.
That's awesome.
And
well, those things are literally, I mean, in a good way, built like tanks, right? Like, I mean, they're just so bulletproof. Like, I mean, I've been on Skidoo personally for years, and one of the reasons I'm on Skidoo is because of the reliability, durability, sometimes at the expense of weight even, right? Lynx now coming to, to North America, I look at the Lynx as like an even more bulletproof design over the Skidoo even, frankly. It's an amazing machine, so.
Yeah. And I think it lends itself to a little bit more aggressive rider. That's what we try to, talk about, is an aggressive technical rider. I love the way it handles in the trees compared to a do, because it is a little bit more rigid. It can be a little bit harder to ride initially because it doesn't have T-motion and that stuff. But once you put it in the situation, it feels a little bit more predictable to me. Yeah. So yeah, it's really cool, and I'm excited to see where the brand goes. Like I'm always pushing to get more involved, so I'm trying to get in on the R&D. I'm trying to get in on the testing.
Sweet.
I want, because if I'm going to spend the next 10, 15 years on this snowmobile, then I want to leave my mark on it and make it as good as I know it can be.
Amazing. So I'm looking forward to see how it evolves. So
yeah, and it's going to be cool because it's just another player in the field of, and it's something different.
Yep. And we get to look forward to the electric version someday, right? 15 years from now, we'll be on electric version. So I hope.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for electric for sure. It'd be so fun.
Yeah. Think about it. No clutching to worry about. Instant torque, like all that. It's gonna be cool.
Oh, it would explode out of the snow. It would get on top of the snow so easy. There's just like, it's cool, and it'd be fun to like. You would hear the track and the electric motor winding, but it wouldn't. It'd be a different feel for sure.
Well, and I just think about how, what electric could do for growing the sport again. I mean, there's potentially people out there who, coming out on an electric machine that maybe they're not interested today, potentially would start getting into it because of access to areas that maybe they wouldn't have had access to before. So,
right. Yeah, there's all that stuff is great for our industry.
It's a bright future.
It is. Yeah.
So one of the coolest things about the Lynx snowmobile is that I'm excited to be part of the Avalanche Alliance, who's given one of those buggers away. So I don't know if anybody's heard or not, but the Avalanche Alliance announcement just happened on Monday, and there's a 2022 Boondocker. I think they're going to give away the 3900 is what I think I heard it was. but the Lynx is the grand prize, along with Fly Racing Gear, Ortovox Avalanche Gear is all part of that grand prize. And then they're going to load it up with all kinds of cool aftermarket goodies too, from like Zebros and SLP and like all kinds of amazing companies there. Marlon sled decks, there's a list goes on and on of all the cool things that are going to be in that sweepstakes. And the best part, Ross, is all of it, the money we raise is going to get redistributed back out to all the avalanche centers across the country that guys like you and I rely on to go out in the backcountry safely. So it's such a cool deal.
Seeing the avalanche awareness start to build like it has in the last year and a half has been it's awesome to see. And it's something that we have needed so badly. From it's just crazy how much terrain we can cover and how knowledgeable we all need to be.
Yep.
And it all starts with education, and the centers need money. We need forecasters to go, write reports every day. Like there's so much that goes into it that people don't understand. So I appreciate all of the work that goes in, and I actually didn't know that a Lynx was being given away until like 2 days ago, because I've been kind of like head down, like I got a lot of stuff going on, which is great, and I was like, that's super cool.
It's one of the hottest sleds in the industry, frankly, is why we picked it for the Avalanche Alliance, and we approached BRP about it. So it was so cool to draw. It's going to create a lot of buzz, I think, for the organization, what we're trying to accomplish. So.
Yeah. And just all the companies coming together in the industry of like, this is something that we can all stand together on, all the riders pushing for it. All of us are, we need this to continue to have a safe sport and continue to come home every day and after we ride in the mountains. So it's all awesome.
Yep. Live large, my friend. Live large.
Yeah,
Make a difference. Cool. Well, hey, we're at that point in the interview where I'm just going to ask you, what else do you have that you want to touch on that maybe we didn't put in our notes, but is there anything that comes to your mind that you want to make sure all of your fans know about for this season coming up? Something that, I know you got a teaser coming up in about a week we can't hear about yet, but it's coming soon. But is there anything else you want to put on everybody's radar for this season or anything that you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, it's crazy. It's been the busiest August for me ever.
Awesome.
Inside of snowmobile things, because I'm just planning so much stuff, and it's really been like hurry up and wait in a way, because I was actually supposed to go to South America and then we couldn't get across the border. We couldn't get down there. So that got canceled. And then I had the new opportunity that I'll be talking about here next week. That was like ebb and flow. That thing's been hurry up and wait as well. So I'm kind of like, and that's finally going through, which is exciting. And then we're planning to do a lot of cool stuff with Lynx going into the winter as well. So it's interesting because, Lynx is snow check only. So, or spring order, right? Like you have to order one to get one. So what I actually like about that is the fact that there's no more snowmobiles to be sold on a Lynx. There's no more Lynx snowmobiles to be sold. So we get to build brand. We get to do fun stuff. Like we get to get people so excited that hopefully next February through April, when the sled launches and it's spring check again, that people are like, I need a Lynx. So because it's like what I talked about earlier, and is I love the entertainment, like brand building, like this is who we are. This is our community.
Awesome.
More so than the technical side of things. And, once sleds, in 8 months, when sleds are out, then we'll talk about all the nuts and bolts on them.
Well, literally you're building the brand now, and they're going to hit the snow. And then next season, ideally you double the volume or triple or quadruple the volume of Lynxes that are going to come into the market, because people will have had a chance to get on them, test drive them. They've seen what you're doing on them. And anybody who is maybe on the fence can hopefully get over the fence and be part of the program. So
yeah, and that's what I'm excited to do. It's like let's do really cool things that maybe we haven't really executed on very well in this industry.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to spread my arms, my technicals, and just get a lot of stuff going on, and whether it's out of industry stuff as well. I mean,
even like mountain biking, you've been shredding on the mountain bike all summer too, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I enjoy everything equally. Like if you were like, if you said I could never ride a snowmobile again, I would be like, okay, I'm very sad about that, but it's okay, 'cause I'll just go ride a mountain bike now for the rest of my life
Yeah.
because I will have the same amount of fun. I love anything that like has that attribute of like speed, flying through the air, handlebars, just like all that is really fun to
Well,
me.
life is an adventure, right? And you just
Right.
chase it. And I've gone through something similar, right? Where this year I bought a Jeep, I bought a dirt bike, I've been, doing all these things where like it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a snowmobile. It's just about living your best life and living life to the fullest, which frankly, that's what Live Large is all about and why we're here talking tonight, man. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah, it's like the adventure never stops. It's just like,
Hell yeah.
especially for me, it's like I talked about a little bit is I have to integrate everything into my work
Yep.
in a way. It's like I ride a mountain bike for like 2 weeks. I'm like, how can I get a free mountain bike out of this deal? What kind of content can I create? Who do I need to talk to? It's like I'm a never ending just like cycle
Yeah.
of scheming and creating ideas, which is there's downside to that as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like, but it's all learning how to balance it, and I'm still learning how to balance it because I'm 26 only, so it's like you got a lot to try to still figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
But
Ross, for what it's worth, you're 26, I'm 46. I got a 20-year gain on you here, and not in the snowmobile industry per se, but in a career and a profession. Just know that you have a friend in me, a resource in me. I look to you as a mentor. Hopefully, you can look to me as a mentor as well, and let's help each other get through this sport and this amazing life together.
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's super cool. And you know what I am, and I think you'll agree with me, is what I am starting to figure out is not a lot of people know what's going on or know what they necessarily want.
Oh,
And that's what's
100%.
cool about being a creative now. And what I'm trying to lean into is like people don't know what they want. And if like you have a good idea and you like present it properly and you can execute on it, they're like, "Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, how can we get involved?"
Well, and
So,
so much of it is your ability to know who you are, what you bring to the table, and have confidence in it, and just drive it. And then at the same time, Ross, listen. Like as you drive forward and you kind of come right up against it, and if you hit that brick wall, buddy, it's like, okay, that was an idea I had, but frankly, what you just told me here in the pitch, that's even a better idea. Let's take that and redirect it and make it even better, right? And if you ever
yeah.
get to that point where you can collaborate with people, I think that's what even adds your even more value in what you're doing, right? It's like it's great to have the idea and to drive it, but then to get to that point where you're totally wide open to people's input and don't be afraid to give everybody credit. Like, dude, like, yeah, it was an amazing idea. You killed it. Let's go out and build that and let's go do that. So,
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the saying that I've heard is like when everything goes right, you take none of the credit, but then when it's all going wrong, you got to take all the, you got to own all that.
take the heat.
And that's like a super hard thing to do, but it's crazy how it works when you start kind of trying to live that way of like I'll take all the accountability, but then I'm going to dish all of it to, everybody else involved.
So credit is like cash and manure. The more you spread it around, the more good it does for everybody. So
Yeah, I love it. Yep. Yeah.
awesome. Well, buddy, we better wrap this up. So any final thank yous, anything else that you want to shout out there before we wrap this up?
Yeah, no. I mean, thanks for having me. Thanks for the people who came over to watch. I see some familiar faces in the chat here. I've been watching the chat. So, like my boy Aiden, that kid is amazing in the fact that I could go live for 5 seconds and he'd be on there somehow. He's
That's
like
awesome.
it's incredible. So to those guys who follow me that closely, I appreciate it and continue to follow me that closely.
That is awesome.
It means a lot, and I'm gonna and I want to keep creating, and I want to just create great stuff that you guys will continue to watch and grow the audience. So
Very
thanks to
cool.
everybody that's tuned in, and yeah, thanks for the time.
Yeah, a lot of my regulars are on here as well too, and so if they haven't already, make sure that you guys go over and follow Ross. Instagram is where you're the most active, I assume, right, Ross? Based on what I'm seeing.
Yeah, right now I am. Things are gonna go pretty heavy on YouTube starting quick.
Perfect.
So
So
YouTube,
YouTube,
Instagram.
Facebook, I'm sure too, some content there. So
Yeah, Facebook gets reposted, but definitely in Instagram. So the Instagram, YouTube are kind of my focuses. So
perfect.
yeah, find me there.
You knew where it was at already. I just figured it out. So we just started doing the broadcast here on YouTube here a couple months ago, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So
Yeah, I wish you the best, and yeah, continue to do good work. So
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you all for watching. And again, if you haven't already, please, we'd be grateful if you shared this link out and got it out in front of, all of your followers, your audience out there. Bring it to social media. And anybody who's in the comments, whether you watch it now or later, I'm going to go back through and I'm going to be like adding all of your names to a list, and we're going to do the drawing for the goggle garage, the fly racing goggle garage for this episode. So just by being here, just by participating, making yourself visible, you're in to win. So appreciate you guys being here. And I wrap up every show with my famous saying of God bless all of you and live large. Have an amazing night.